Good morning, everyone. In the last lecture, we saw the architecture of GPRS network. Okay, we have seen that it is a 2.5G GSM evolution. So today we will see the different protocol layers or protocols that are used in the GPRS, and after that we will go forward and we will go towards the introduction of third generation, that is UMTS 3G. Okay, so we'll look at the protocol stack first, that is a protocol stack for GPRS. Okay, so now different protocols are implemented at different components of the architecture of GPRS. Okay, which are basically connected via a different interfaces. Okay, we have seen different interfaces yesterday, that UM interface, then GB interface, GN interface, GI interface. We have seen in the architecture. Suppose, for example, for communication between external network and GGSN, which is nothing but the gateway towards the GPRS internal network. So we are using GI interface for that. Okay. So all the data is communicated via IP. Okay. So GGSN use IP protocol. Okay, so out of these all protocols which are there, so there are some protocols which are new and unknown to us, because some of the protocols we have already discussed in the GSM architecture. So there are certain new protocols are there, like GTP. You can see here GTP is one protocol that you can observe. Okay, so then there is a another protocol SNDCP. Okay, then BSS GP. Okay, then RLC also there, it is RLC protocol. So these are the new protocols which are included in GPRS. Okay, apart from that, every other protocol is known to us or familiar to you, so which was the part of previous OSI model, that is a wired network. FR was not there. So FR is a frame relay, is a type of network which is used at the physical layer of this GPRS. So for communication between internal gateway supporting nodes, internal gateway supporting nodes means HGSN. Okay, GN interface is used. उसके लिए क्या use होता है? This GN interface between GGSN and HGSN. Yesterday we have seen that. Okay, and this communication basically is happened through GTP. Okay, so GTP you can see here, it is implemented between GGSN and HGSN. Okay, and this entire part is made up of wired network basically. Uh, the wired network will be up to this. From this side is the wired network. Okay, and from MS to BSS we know, from MS to BSS it is a wireless. Okay, that we have seen already, this part and this part. Okay, so when there is a communication between HGSN and BSS, so that will be a wired, but BSS has to communicate through wireless interface. So that wireless interface is also present there. So whatever data or whatever format that is followed in this particular network, that is a wired network I'm talking about. So that format has to be converted here, and that conversion will be done by this SNDCP. Okay, and communicated via this BSSGP. Okay, so we will see details of all these protocols. Then RLC, as the name suggests, it is a radio link control. Okay, which is responsible for wireless interface communication with the logical link, and means LLC and RLC will work together, and RLC of the mobile station also. Okay, so this is how the communication will happen. So if there is a direction of communication in the revert direction, that is suppose from mobile station to GGSN, okay, towards the external network, same protocol will be utilized, same thing will going to happen. Okay, functionality will be slightly different, that is the only change. So let's see the function of each protocol in detail, one by one. Okay, so as I said, all the GPRS applications that communicate via a standard IP. Just now we have seen that are communicated via a standard IP. So every mobile handset will get a IP address. So everyone will communicate via a standard IP. Okay. So now first protocol which is new here in GPRS is GTP protocol. Okay, which is new in GPRS. The full form of this is that is GPRS tunneling protocol. It is nothing but the GPRS tunneling protocol. So all the data within the GPRS backbone. Now GPRS backbone means here it is comprising of SGSN and GGSN. Okay, so communication between these two will happen through this GTP protocol. Okay, so internal backbone doesn't have to worry about the IP address of GPRS network. Okay, because they are using a separate protocol for communication. So no involvement of IP in the case of internal communication. So GTP can use different transport protocol for delivery of the packet from GGSN, sorry, from SGSN to GGSN. So IP is the network layer for transportation. So you can either use a TCP or UDP. Now here the choice of TCP or UDP is dependent on for which network layer protocol packets are coming. Okay. For example, suppose if external packet data network uses X.25, suppose external packet network is using X.25, okay, so which requires reliable data delivery. X.25 requires reliable data delivery. Okay, then definitely you have to use TCP. Okay, so I'm repeating again. So if external data network is using X.25 for network layer, then you have to go for TCP. Okay, or GTP has to go for TCP for transportation of packets to the SGSN or towards the external network. Okay, and if external data network is using simple IP as a network layer protocol, then you can go for UDP, because you know that UDP works well with the IP which has no restrictions, but X.25 forces the reliable data delivery. Okay, so you have to go to TCP when if the external data network using X.25. Otherwise, UDP can be useful. Okay, so that is a job which is done by GTP. Okay, so depending on the external network, either to choose the appropriate transport layer protocol and deliver the packet. Then the next protocol which is important here is SNDCP. Okay, a full form of SNDCP is सब नेटवर्क डिपेंडेंट कन्वर्जेंस प्रोटोकॉल. फुल फॉर्म क्या है? सब नेटवर्क डिपेंडेंट कन्वर्जेंस प्रोटोकॉल. Okay, so as I discussed, the packet which are coming from the different sources of the external network, so those may be a computer based or server based network, and the delivery has to be made towards the mobile station. Okay, so packets are coming towards the mobile station. Okay, so which is a very small size and which has a certain restrictions also. Okay, so it is using a different protocols, or uh, in other scenario, if packets are originating from the mobile interface or mobile handset, then they will have a format which is designed for mobile user interface that has to be converted to the external data network. Okay, which may be the servers, maybe the general computers, PDAs, or can be anything. Okay, so formats used by these particular external devices and format used by the mobile devices will be different. So convert them into the each other. So SNDCP is performing a key role here. Okay, so SNDCP primarily converts, encapsulate, and suppose if required, it segments the external network format like IP datagram, okay, into subnetwork format. Okay, that is a role of SNDCP. So that is suitable for wireless interface. Okay, because mobile is connected via wireless interface, whereas external network are connected via the wired interface. So the same format which are used in the wired network cannot be used for the wireless network. Okay. Also, we know that the mobile handsets cannot have the larger battery life. Okay, so all the data has to be compressed in order to efficiently transmit over the wireless network. Okay, but wireless network means that is a UM interface. Okay, so compression of the data is also done by SNDCP. Okay, then the next is logical link, that is the wireless link, which is used for data communication between mobile handset and the BSS, and further from BSS to SGSN. So that is also has a different formats, and that is obtained by SNDCP interfaces. Okay, that is by converting these PDUs, okay, to PDUs IP datagram into the transferable by LLC. Okay, so this external network do not have to worry where the data should be delivered. So whether to it will be delivered to mobile handset or general computer. So SNDCP is taking care of all those things. Okay, like converting this IP packet into the local format, means all those format which are required there. Then the another key aspect of for GPRS is that it only support the IP as a payload type. It only support the IP as a payload type. Okay, so all the payloads will be format of IP only. Okay, so no other format is allowed here. So that is why SNDCP is important in conversion of those all formats. So that is what SNDCP is. Okay, so we'll see the next protocol, that is BSS GP protocol. So before that, we'll see that LLC, that is another layer protocol in controller, okay, which was previously also observed in GSM. We have seen that LLC was present in the GSM also, that provides a safe logical link by encrypting packets. Okay, so for that same LLC link is used as long as we are under the same or single SGSN. Same SGSN means single SGSN. Okay, so as we know, SGSN is equivalent to MSC of GSM. Okay, so this is at the same hierarchy level of MSC. So SGSN is at same hierarchy level of that of MSC in GSM. Okay, so as long as we are under the same MSC, same logical link will be provided by the LSC that we have seen in the GSM architecture. Okay, so here also under the same SGSN. Okay, it is SGSN. SGSN. Okay, that is a typing mistake by me. It is SGSN. Okay, the next is BSS GP, that is a base station subsystem GPRS protocol. Base station system GPRS protocol. Okay, this protocol is used for communication between SGSN and BSS. Okay, so our hierarchy will be like this: the MS, then BSS, then SGSN, then GGSN, and then external packet data network. Okay, so for communication between SGSN and BSS, BSS GP is used. Okay, so the data formats for BSS GP are compatible for mobile handsets. So that format is obtained via SNDCP. Okay, as we have just seen in the previous slide, but it should provide the minimum required quality of service. That means that is the reliability, delay, and all other parameters of the quality of service which are required for radio interface, and that is maintained by BSS GP. Okay, so when data is initiated from mobile handset, so that is getting transferred from mobile handset to the external network, then routing has to be specified, because we know that this particular network is the wired network. So external network may be the wired network, then routing has to be specified for SGSN, because we know SGSN is a router, so router required routing information. Okay, so that routing information is obtained from BSS GP. That is the work of BSS GP. So BSS GP also provides routing information for SGSN. Apart from that, BSS GP handles the flow control. Okay, it handles the flow control between SGSN and BSS, and also the congestion control, due to which there may be a loss of data at the BSS. Okay, now we know that one is SGSN. Once the SGSN is connected to several BSS, one SGSN is connected to several BSS like MS. Okay, so flow control in the case of communication between BSS and SGSS. What is flow control here? So SGSN is connected to the wired network. So it has much higher data rate. We know that, whereas BSS is connected to the UM interface. So that is the wireless interface, okay, or wireless network. So it is having a low data rate. So the data, if it is initiated from the external network, so it will become much faster rate, because external network is a wired network. Okay, compared to the data that can be supported by, or data rate that can be supported by BSS. So there should be a certain flow control between BSS and SGS. Okay, that is flow control between SGSN towards the BSS. That is the downlink direction from HGSN. That is a downlink direction. So in uplink direction, there will be no such problem, and that's why flow from BSS to SGSN is not controlled, and SGSN to BSS is controlled. Okay, so flow control works only in the downlink direction and not in uplink direction. That you remember. And about the congestion control, as just we have seen, several BSS are connected. Okay, to the single SGSN. If all the base stations subsystem send the data At the same time, so there may be a congestion at the HGSN side, so there might be possible of congestion. So that is handled by BSS GP. Okay, if all of them are trying to send at the same time, so there will be a congestion, and due to that congestion, there will be a loss of data. Okay, and that can be avoided by use of BSS GP. Okay, so key points for BSS GP are performing or maintaining communication between SGSN and BSS. For BSS, maintaining the quality of service parameter, then providing routing information for SGSN, then controlling flow in the downlink direction and avoiding the congestion control or avoiding the congestion at SGSN. Okay, so that are the key functions of BSS GP. Okay, then the next point in BSS GP is that it does not perform any error correction. But actually, that point is here only that does not carry out any kind of error correction. Okay, since it is implementing or helping in the implementation of the congestion control, so it does not provide any assistance regarding error correction, and it works on a top of the frame relay network. Okay, so when we move from now BSS GP to BSS or towards BSS now, the actual wireless interface that is at the BSS, so towards the mobile station, so RLC involved, RLC will get involved. So LLC and RLC, we know that LLC is responsible for a wired network and RLC is responsible for wireless network, that is radio link protocol. Okay, for wireless interface. So radio link protocol, that is RLC, that provides a reliable wireless link needed to transfer data over the UM interface. Okay, so LLC is responsible for wire, LLC responsible for wired interface. Okay, and RLC is responsible for wireless interface, that is UM interface. Okay, so then next is MAC layer, medium access control. Okay, so we are using DS CDMA. Okay, that is basically a DSS. DSS means that is direct sequence split spectrum technology, which is used in UMTS. So mapping of LLC frames and RLC frames, okay, onto the GSM physical channels, because we are using different technology that is done by medium access control. So however, these new channels basically, which are implemented in the DS CDMA, and their mapping on physical resources have been defined by these DS CDMA standards. Okay, so one of so one MS can allocate up to maximum 8 channels or 8 traffic channels. Okay, that is same in GSM if you remember. Okay, but for 8 traffic channel in GSM, you need 8 different users. Okay, these are the traffic channels PD, PCH. But if you remember in GSM, for 8 traffic channels, 8 users are required. Okay, but in this DSCDMA, one user can allocated with the all 8 channels. Okay, okay. If you recall, just recall the GSM frame structure. So there were total 8 time slots. You have to gather to. So the 8 time slots, 8 users are allocated to it. Okay, so that was GSM. Okay, so each one contains separate user for GSM. So each user gets only one time slot, but in UMTS, a single user can be allocated all 8 time slots, and that increase your data rate. Okay, so that is how the data rate can be increased apart from use of uh, DSCDMA. So MS can be allocated up to 8 packet data traffic channels that are in UMTS. So whereas in GSM, each user will be allocated a single traffic channel. Okay. Also, the capacity can be allocated on demand basis. So we have seen in GPRS, one of the feature is that is always on characteristics we have seen in the GPRS introduction. Okay. So always on, that means it can be allocated on demand and keep as it is. Okay, so it can be also shared because we are using packet switching and circuit switching, so channels can be also shared in this case, so capacity can be improved. So in the case of this UMTS, so this allocation can be done dynamically, that is on demand. So while monitoring what is the load on the BSS and SGSN, and capacity can also be reallocated depending on the priorities of the user and their data. Okay, so this is all about GPRS. So in the first part, what we have seen the general architecture, if you remember, which shows the new components that have been introduced like SGSN and GGSN, and then support these new for supporting these new components, which are nothing but the routers. In general, there will be introduction of new protocol like GTP, SNDCP, BSSGP, which will help in transforming external packet data into the format understandable by the internal network. Okay, so this is all about GPRS. Let us move forward and we'll see the next generation of GSM evolution, that is a third generation. Okay, so we are basically directly going towards the third generation, but before that, there was another generation which was implemented to improve the data rate up to 384 kbps. So, and that was known as H. Okay, it was 2.75 generation. We have seen 2G, we have seen 2.5G GPRS. Now this is 2.75G. Then we are going to see 3G. That is UMTS. 3G is UMTS. Okay. So this is H, which is a 2.75 G. But this generation and details of this generation are not given in your syllabus. So we will not discuss in detail about it. But you remember after GPRS, there was a technology or which was present or which was introduced to increase the data rate supported by GSM, and that was 2.75 and known as EDGE, that is enhanced data rate for GSM evaluation. ओके, अगर आपको याद रहेगा तो आपकी मोबाइल पे जब नेटवर्क आप चेक करते हो, एट दैट टाइम यू माइट हैव सीन capital E which was written, that is for H technology, which was supporting 2G basically. Okay, so and after that the next technology which was introduced, that is a 3G technology. Okay, so 3G, we know the term 3G, but we don't know the term UMTS. Okay, so it is well known as UMTS, which is originally defined as a universal mobile telecommunication system. Universal mobile telecommunication system. Okay, which was defined by ETSI, okay, European Telecommunication Standard Institute, and later on it is renamed as UTRA or UTRA. Okay, that is a Universal Terrestrial Radio Access. Okay, so now it is now UMTS is known as UTRA or UTRAN, UTRAN. Okay, so the UMTS and UTRN is one and the same thing. Okay, old name was UTMS, old name was UMTS, and new name is UTRAN. Okay, so the goal of this UTRAN was to provide the higher data rate compared to the previous generation. Suppose, for example, uh, minimum of 144 kbps in the rural, and the actual goal was up to 384 kbps. So minimum of 384 kbps in suburban regions, which may be rise up to 512 kbps and up to 2 mbps in urban regions. Okay, where population density will be higher. Okay, so higher data rates are expected so that we can achieve the better services. So that was the requirement of the 3G. Okay, so this is the general architecture, basic architecture. Okay, looking from outside, if you see, and you can see that what is new in this one. So the general architecture includes three components. एक है पहला, that is first one is the UE, that is a user, okay, which is identified by as a user equipment, which is supporting the third generation 3G को support कर रहा है, okay, and that's 3G, the 3G technology. Then the modification on the existing network, that is UTRA, okay, that is based on the GSM and the core network. Okay, there's a mixture of both. And here UE is interface with the UU interface, and this is interface with the IU interface. Okay, that is a core network is a third component which is present here. Okay, which will enable communication between the new component and the existing component. Matlab, for example, if you have suppose you have bought 3G mobile, so you should be able to communicate with 2G mobile also, not as a network also. Okay, so core network supports 2G, okay, maybe 2.5G, like that. Okay, so all the lower versions of the GSM are supported by this third generation via this QTRA through this core network. Okay, the details of these two components we will see in the next lecture, but right now the summary of overall picture is that the core network, that is CN, is responsible for inter-system handover as well as the communication with the lower versions of GSM system. Okay, and Utron is basically responsible for improving the data rate up to the standard specified by the third generation. Okay, so detailed functions of all these Utron and the core network we will see in the next lecture. Okay, so there are certain details are there about UMTS. We will be going to see the UMTS completely in the next lecture, that is tomorrow. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll have the what we have seen. We have seen the protocol stack, components of protocol stack, that is IP, sorry, GTP, SNDCP, PSSGP, FR, RLC, and LLC. Okay, then we have seen details of those components, and we have seen the introduction to the 3G technology, that is UMTS. UMTS is also known as UTRA, which is a new name for UMTS. Previously, originally, it was named as Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. Later on, it is renamed, and now it is known as UTRAN. Okay, that is Universal Terrestrial Radio Access. Okay, so that's all for today.